Have you seen the graphics like this in your LinkedIn feed? Apparently, this is what everybody thinks your business should look like you in the middle, surrounded by AI tools, basically slowly developing a stress rash. It's a cute graphic. It's a terrible life choice. I think there's a better way. So I would replace that tool stack with my problem stack. Then I would put AI in the middle and hand off the work. So most people are still thinking about AI in terms of a tool stack, right? A bunch of stuff we add on to the business in addition to everything we already do. So that's completely wrong. I think we need to be thinking about AI as a solution for our problem stack. Solopreneurs have a set of pretty common problems, and what we want to do is hand off as many of those as possible to AI. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put Claude in the middle instead of you, and we're going to put all our problems around the circle. So think about the things that really take a lot of time in your business that you could be spending doing other things, right? Tracking action items, managing email, finding and organizing files, social media, capturing ideas. Look, you can put whatever problems in the circle that you want. You do you. But once you have your problem stack, let's see what happens if we put AI in the middle and whether or not it can help us with this. So the first thing we have to figure out is where do each of these problems live, right? You already use a tool to get the stuff under control, or the problem is with the tool itself. But these things take too much time or they're frustrating. I'll tell you my own story. So I went looking for those LinkedIn images that I showed at the beginning of this video. I could not find them. I spent probably 30 minutes before I found them in one of my Google Drives because I forgot that I had hooked up my drive to Claude and I could have just searched that way. So again, don't forget that AI is as much of a habit as it is as learning to use a new tool. But in this case, we're not going to learn to use any new tools. What we're going to do is we're going to identify where these problems currently live. And then I'm going to show you how to make the tools that you already have work better. So really quickly, how are you handling all of these problems right now, right? So for action items, maybe you use a note taker with your video calls. Maybe you use Asana or Trello or a spreadsheet to just keep track of your to-do list. For email, you probably use Gmail or Outlook. Finding and organizing files, Google Drive, maybe your desktop on your computer. For graphic design for social media, most of us use Canva these days. And for idea capture, maybe use the Notes app on your phone or something like Notion, okay? So here's the thing. Instead of solving this by sticking all new tools in as solutions to this problem, we're going to take the tools you already use and make them work harder for you using AI. So, this is a great way for you to start building those skills while still working in something that's completely familiar. And don't worry, in just a second, I'm going to give you some ideas of what you can do once your apps are hooked up. So, let me show you how it works. So, we're going to go into Claude. This is just Claude in your browser, the way you're probably using it now. And we go over here to customize and we look for connectors. And you just start scrolling through. And these are all the apps that are available to you to connect with Claude. So let's look at Canva. Here it shows you all the things that Claude can do once you connect it. So you just go over here and you hit the button. And then you'll need to authorize it probably by putting in your password. And you'll do that for all of the apps that you want to work with. Okay, so now you're connected to a bunch of apps. Yay! But you have to start using it. And so this is important. Just like I said earlier, you have to practice to get results from AI. It's kind of like learning to play the piano. You don't just show up and play like Lady Gaga, right? You do scales, you play easy pieces, you make mistakes and you try again. Why don't we look at Canva? Because that's something most of us use if we're at all active on social media, right? So if yours looks anything like mine, it is really hard to find stuff. Like when all you want to do is like duplicate the one thing you've already made and just add new text, right? So you normally would have to go into Canva, look through your design folders, assuming you have folders. I don't. And then find the right one. And, that's like 15 to 20 minutes you didn't need to burn. So once you have Canva connected in your browser, you can just ask Claude to go find it for you. So can you go to Canva and find the social post that I created for my lead magnet about the low-tech way to save 5 hours a week? And look at that, it found it. I didn't even know the right title of my lead magnet and it still found it for me. Here's something else you can try. If you've connected your email, so Gmail or Outlook, and your note taker, that would be something like Granola or Zoom or Fathom, right? Try this prompt. Go to Gmail and insert the name of your note taking app. So tell it where to look and summarize any interactions I've had with, put in your client's name over the last 30 days. Now, this is going to pop out a summary of meeting notes and action items and the current status of whatever you're working on with that person. Bam! Meeting prep done. So if you want to get started with the connectors, remember what we're going to do is list out the problem stack first. Because if you don't start with a problem, in all likelihood, you're going to connect a bunch of apps and then you're just never going to use it. All right. Then you're going to identify the app you use where the problem lives. You're going to hook it up using the connector function that I showed you. And then you're going to test it out and see if life gets better. Okay. Now, if your biggest problem is that when you use AI to create content, it doesn't sound anything like you, well, we can't fix that with a connector. So this is the video you're going to watch next.